Right, let's get started with the headlines. Plastic waste and weeds have taken over some drains along the Obichibi-Lamte Kwame Nkrumah Circle Interchange Road in what could best be described as an eyesore. At a time, the Odo drain is being dredged. Now, some of the passageways of the drains have been blocked, and many fear a disaster is imminent with the next set of rains. Komla Adum has been investigating.
This is the Awudome Cemetery area, few meters away from the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. Right by the fencing is a drain taken over by weeds. Human activities close to the drain are minimal. But as we move up the stretch, we discover a displeasing spectacle. It may look like a dead end, but it's not. It is actually a drain along this stretch. An unpleasant clatter of plastic water bottles, drink containers, remnants of disposable packs used for selling food, among many other containers, twigs that have gathered here and have essentially blocked the passageway right under this bridge to the other end. Imagine what will happen here if there is a heavy rain or a heavy downpour. All of these may spill over onto the road, and essentially floods will occur. Few meters up, a top layer of algae and waterweed. The situation in front of a Royal House chapel appears different. The portion of a drain had been desilted, but the opening for the dark polluted water is blocked. Pedestrians and commuters here have to endure the foul stench wafting from the stagnant water. According to them, whenever it rains, the entire stretch gets heavily flooded.
The gutter itself has choked. Normally, free has say sometimes free carnage.
The entire area gets flooded whenever it rains. Flood waters from Kaneshi all the way down the stretch because of choked gutters.
Flood even back inside very serious.
They say some contractors were here to cut down trees along the road to make way for some construction works. But the situation since then remains dire. They cut off the trees to make way for some construction work. The pollution continues. Several companies here are negatively impacted by the rains. The State Housing Company, banks, STC, among others, are just a few. Anochi believes the attitudes of people must change. People dump litter in the drains here because there are no dustbins as well. This is the other side of a drain on the Obichibi roundabout circle stretch, and earlier we saw on the other side of a drain where the hole had been taken over by plastic water bottles, drink containers and disposable food containers. This is where all of that is supposed to come through and then onwardly flow under this particular bridge into a drain across my left. But as it stands now, because of a choking at the other end, the water here is stagnant and all the refuse and the plastic that we saw in the drain there remain there. These drains flow into the main Odo, which is being dredged by dredge masters. Our visit Monday revealed they were at site desilting. But the question some have asked is, what happens to these small waterways and drains which have been completely taken over by unwanted materials and weeds? The Accra Metropolitan Assembly says it is part of a plan to desilt all drains on road shoulders in preparation for the rains.
They are all part of the plans or the various drains is earmarked for desilting as the rains setting. So they are all part, not only that stretch of drainage, but other roadside drains within there.
Right, let's make a stop in the Ashanti region next, where work is expected to be completed in August on MTN Ghana Foundation-sponsored 6-unit classroom block at Inshiaiso in the Asante Akim North District. Now, it means the 477,178 Ghana cedis facility will be available for children and teachers of local District Assembly Basic School for the new academic year in September. Contractors Wilfrim Enterprise briefed MTN Foundation officials on the project during an inspection visit. It was initiated after a JoyNews agenda story highlighted the poor state of the old building and how occupants were exposed to danger. Ohiming Teria, who broke the story, was at this event, and here's his report.
MTN Ghana Foundation has already disbursed over 70% of construction costs of a 6-unit classroom block to contractors. The project, comprising a library, staff common room and store, is currently being roofed. Its completion will end the suffering of children of Agogo Inshiaiso Basic School who have been learning in dilapidated structures. Junior high school students who trek to school in nearby community are exposed to danger, including sexual abuse of females. MTN Ghana Foundation officials, led by Corporate Service Executive Sam Corantin, visited the project site where project manager Benjamin Atafrempon briefed them.
Here after the roof, we are going to do the plastering. We have the lighting, we have to do the lighting also. And then we have to do the ceiling, from ceiling, and then the painting. After painting, we'll have to finish everything in it. The chairs, the tables and everything. It's fully finished project. So within 2-3 months, we have to complete everything.
Mr. Cranton is satisfied at work rate and quality of work.
It's a testament of MTN Ghana's Foundation's commitment to the communities in which we operate, and we deem this community as one of them. And the foundation has education as one of its focus areas. So we are doing what we do best within the MTN Ghana Foundation. We have inspected the progress of the work. It's been 3 months now, and what we see out here is a good impression of the contractor. He's made us proud, and from the excitement of the community as well, I can see that they are looking forward to the completion of this project. We are on course.
Asante Akim North Director of Education, Enesco Jafari, says the facility will serve 6 other communities in the area.
6 surrounding communities. So in addition to Inshiaiso here, we are talking about 7 communities. And one significant thing about this community is a fast-growing community. In fact, next to Ananikrum. So the rate at which the population is growing, we have to also position ourselves to be able to enroll all school-going age children into formal education. And so this project has come at the right time.
Assemblyman for the area, Peter Abaji, is equally excited.
We were not even expecting to get a bigger classroom like this, but through multimedia and then MTN Foundation, Inshiaiso too can also boost of a basic education.
From Inshiaiso in the Asante Akim North District for JoyNews, Ohiming.
Right, now back here in Accra, the Attorney General's office has submitted a leaked recording of a meeting of party communicators of the NDC, National Democratic Congress, along with a forensic analysis of the audio to an Accra High Court. The materials will form part of the evidence that the state is relying on to prove its case against NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo and another officer of the party charged with conspiracy to cause harm and assault on a public officer. Joseph Akable has been keeping his eye on proceedings. Here's his report.
Sympathizers of the opposition NDC thronged the law court complex to support NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. He is standing trial together with Deputy Communications Officer Kweku Buahi on charges of conspiracy to cause harm and assault on a public officer. The court had previously ordered the Attorney General's office to make available evidence it intends to use in the trial. Director of Public Prosecution Yvonne Atakro-Buobisa informed the court the audio recording, witness, caution, charge statements and forensics reports has been submitted at the court registry. A member of Mr. Ampofu's legal team, Dr. Dominic Ayene, told pressmen they would have preferred to receive the documents earlier.
Before we came, the documents had not been served on us, and we knew that pursuant to the order of the court, we're entitled to have those documents before any hearing could take place. So we anticipated that there will be an adjournment today. Much as we are concerned, due process of law will also have to be followed. And that is why we obliged the court and took an adjournment today.
Hearing of the case continues on May 27.
Right, now, before we go, in September this year, senior high schools will welcome new entrants to begin their first year of secondary education. This means all SHS students in the government-assisted schools will become beneficiaries of the new Patriotic Party's free SHS program, which costs almost $1 billion a year. Former President John Mahama and others have questioned the source of funding, warning the dedication of that amount to fund the program at the detriment of other sectors under education could collapse the entire system. Government, however, appears resolute in seeing the program through. Monday, at the Global Peace Program, President Akufo-Addo announced the dedication of over 30% of the country's budget to the education sector.
The 21st century is both a competitive one and the era of science and technology. We must educate and equip our youth with the requisite skills to enable them to compete in today's world. Today in Ghana, I'm delighted to be able to say that education in the public sector is now free from kindergarten to senior high school, with the adoption of my government's free senior high school policy. Investment in our educational system are a key priority for my government, and we have ensured that 1/3 of our nation's budget is dedicated to educating our young people. A new standards-based curriculum, which has mathematics, science, reading, writing, and creativity at its core, is being rolled out from kindergarten to class 6 in primary schools this year. All is set for the construction of 21 state-of-the-art technical and vocational education training TVET centers this year in the regions of our country. 10 science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM centers are also being built around the country to provide support for the introduction of STEM into basic education after the completion of a successful pilot phase. We are determined to ensure that Ghana's young people acquire skills that will put them at par with their peers anywhere.
Right, that's a good place to bring the news to an end. Of course, the show is not at an end. We're bringing you traffic updates and, of course, what's in the newspapers, followed by sports and so much more. Stay where you are.